So, I just got to watch this brand new film on Netflix called Uglies. Yes, this is the film with the incredibly generic poster that looks like it was AI generated because it probably was. Uglies stars Joey King and was directed by MCG, a director that I actually kind of like. He's made a lot of films that I enjoyed more than most people. And the film is about this kind of dystopian, futuristic society that has taken humanity and kind of brought it down to two very basic different groups. Uglies, who are people that just look normal, and pretties, people who have had this cosmetic surgery to make them look extremely, extremely gorgeous, and also like Kim Kardashian, kind of. It's another dystopian teen movie. If you have seen a billion of them before, you know what you're getting with this one. The issue with this one, though, is unlike other movies like Hunger Games and even sometimes the first Divergent movie, where they take their dystopian concepts and actually tell a dark and kind of gritty story with good characters, especially the Hunger Games, which I think is kind of like the cream of the crop in this genre. This film, instead, ends up being one of the most generic films that you could have ever imagined come from this world in this genre. And this is just talking about the movie. I'm not going to get into the book here because I have not read the book. Of course, this is based off a book. I'm not going to talk about it. Although the concept here, it's a little stupid. Like, if you were to have shown me the trailer for this movie and just read me the concept, I would have thought, wow, that would make a really funny teaser at the beginning of Tropic Thunder 2 if they ever make that movie. Be hilarious to put a teaser for Uglies at the beginning of that. So the base story of this movie, though, is we're following Joey King's character as she's slowly uncovering the conspiracies around the new society that she's living in. And there's a rebellion, and there's bad guys who are just laughably bad. And yeah, so we have a movie. There's some problems with this film. First things first, the dialogue. The writing here and the dialogue, just not great. There's a lot of lines that are said between Joey King and some of the other actors that make the actors look 10 times worse than they probably actually are when it comes to their talent in performing. It's because the dialogue here does not do them much favors. They do not have a lot to grip onto. I also think Joey King's character here is not a great lead character. She's a character that just kind of feels as cookie cutter and as ground level as possible in something like this. If you've watched any anime ever, if you've ever watched any kind of basic level teen drama, this is the character you kind of expect. They're a little ambitious and excited to be a part of the dystopian world, and then they realize there's cracks in it, and they slowly come to terms with how they have to be a hero. They have to be a hero in this new world. Maybe they even fall in love along the way. Yeah, it's as ground level as it possibly gets here. The kind of resistance group and the twists and turns that happen with this dystopian society, you just see them coming from a mile away. They're all things you have seen done before and done better. One of the biggest problems with this movie is the CGI. The CGI for a movie that was made on Netflix. One of the biggest companies in the world. A movie that I'm sure had a very large budget. The CGI in this movie is just not acceptable. It's really, really bad at points. At other points, it looks passable, but sometimes this looks like Shark Boy and Lava Girl, and not in like the nice, nostalgic, oh, I loved that movie when I was a kid sort of way, but in the, wow, this is not good. The CGI and the overall look of this movie is just ugly, and that's kind of weird for MCG. He's a director that I always feel like, even though he's made some movies that could be considered cheaper and not very good, I always felt like his movies had a nice visual style to them. Even the Babysitter movies that he did, I've always liked the visual style. The Terminator film that he got to do, I like his direction. I like the cinematography he usually pulls out. Here, this film is just, it's ugly. One of the biggest sins this movie commits, though, is just being boring. Usually these dystopian movies have this kind of intrigue in them in the world building. They introduce you to this new world that has a history to it, and they have all these functions in their government, and you just kind of want to explore it. Even the worst dystopian things, you sort of want to explore this kind of alternative future, this alternative world that could come from our world, right? And see what went wrong. How did we get here? It's one of the biggest intrigues of something like The Hunger Games. And here, there just really isn't intrigue. I think part of the reason is because the movie starts with like a good 5-minute exposition dump where they just explain how the world got this way and how everything pretty much works. And I'm not shitting on exposition dumps at the beginning of movies. Like, listen, The Lord of the Rings did it, and it was fantastic in The Fellowship of the Ring. So we're not going to talk about it like it's the worst thing you could do in a movie, but here it just does not work. This is the type of movie that I feel like you should have just been dumped in the world, maybe with a more serious tone. And I don't know how you make this much better, to be completely honest with you. It's kind of a dumb concept at the front of it. It's a really stupid movie. And it's just boring. And the main reason it's boring is because you see everything coming from a mile away. And when you're watching a movie and you know what's going to happen in the next scene before the next scene even starts, you just you can never get gripped into the film, and that's just what this film is. It's a predictable, dystopian mess that was made by Netflix to try to reclaim the last little crumbs of the dystopian genre that used to be super, super popular, but has kind of fallen off in Hollywood outside of, like, The Hunger Games, and unfortunately, this is not the film that's going to bring it back. They need to start adapting other books and other big book series and making great movies. Like, how have we not gotten a Mistborn movie yet from Brandon Sanderson? If you guys have read Mistborn, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you haven't read it, go read Mistborn by Brandon Sanderson. Great book series. There are some, like, late teen to young adults starring, you know, book series out there that could make incredible, incredible movies or TV shows. I just don't know if Uglies is one of them. And I'm sorry if the Uglies books are amazing, but I have no interest in reading them. I will give Uglies a 1.5 out of 5. I don't think it's 1 out of 5. Like, this isn't The Rise of Skywalker, but it is just not very good. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like this video, subscribe for more notifications. I'll see you in the next one.